Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe. Happy Friday, TGIF. We are a lot closer to the start of training camp down in Spartanburg. But again, Chris Jenkins, aka Man of the People. I love working for the fans of the Carolina Panthers. So if you have a question about this team, for a player, for a coach, I'm the guy to go and get those answers for you. So please take a moment, hit that subscribe button. If you already have, hit the like button. And also, subscribers, hit the bell notification so that you can know when I go live. I go live so I can talk to you guys directly, okay? Which, hey, it's Friday. Really like to hear from as many people as possible today. If you don't see it in the description, I'm going to put it in the comments in just a second. That link will allow you to come on the show. Tell me what's on your mind. Today's topic is Bryce Young. Nothing particular about Bryce Young. Anything that you all want to talk about regarding Bryce Young is what we will do today. And yeah, excited. It's right around the corner for training camp. And I think I forgot to. Let me first go ahead and put that link. I'm going to pin the link for you to join the show in the comments. So give me just a second to do that. And hey, let me know how you're doing this Friday. Is it a good Friday? Is it a bad Friday? I myself am going to have a long Friday, but it is what it is. Copy this link here. What's going on, Rodney? Appreciate you joining me. Hope you're having a good Friday. All right, so I just pinned that comment to the top of the screen in the comments section to help you join us, for those who want to join us and participate in the show. Let me zoom in just a tiny bit here. And again, welcome to my office. Don't laugh at any of my junk in the background, okay? I get my work done, which is what I need to do. So let's go ahead and just dive on into it, right? Bryce Young, lots of questions about him. Me and my co-host Andre Casseday, we're going to talk about some things that are on our mind. But again, if you join me before I get off, you got some questions or topics that you'd like to talk about with Bryce, let me know. All right. Let me just jump on right into it. So Andre, we're going to let Andre go first because I'm a gracious host. I won't hog up the mic time. Let's talk about Bryce Young and the expectations that we have for Mr. Bryce Young.
This is going to be a very interesting season for Bryce Young. And I just kind of want to talk about real quick the expectations that we all have for him. I think, we need to be reasonable in terms of what we want to see out of him. I think for us, it is reasonable to expect Carolina to be competing for the division. With the state of the division as it is right now, really the only team that you're really worried about is the Saints. I think, if he can just come in and just be a serviceable member of the offense and grow and progressively get better week in and week out, that gives us a very realistic and legitimate shot, I feel like, of not only winning the division, but competing for a playoff spot, which I think is more than attainable in year one for Bryce Young if he just continues to mature and takes the steps that he needs to take to get to that level, which he's more than capable of doing. I think the expectation should be at least in the competition for a division title and a playoff spot. I think it's fair to make that assertion about this team and where things could go this season for them.
All right, so there you have my co-host Andre Casseday talking about the expectations for Bryce Young, saying that we should be able to compete for the playoff spot by, in terms of competing for the NFC South. What do you think? Do you think that Bryce means that we should be able to compete, have a pretty legitimate chance going into those last weeks for a playoff spot? Let me know. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let me first go and say, what's up to Panthers Kingdom Podcast? Super chat for $1. So hey, super chats are always welcome and needed. Independent media supported 100% by you all. Our subscribers subscriptions, I should say, will be available next Tuesday at the start of training camp. Need your all support. So appreciate that, Panther Kingdom, for that super chat. It helps very much. Whether it's $1, it helps. It adds up. The NFL kid is back. Hey, NFL, I think you made it every single day this week, right? If you missed, I think you only missed one, but certainly appreciate you jumping on. And then my man, I'm sorry, Chris Johnson. I'm doing good, man. Our names are so similar. CJ's at the CJ. What's going on? Appreciate you jumping in. So, should we expect to compete? Should we expect to compete against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I think absolutely. Should we expect to compete against the New Orleans Saints? I think so. And what about the Atlanta Falcons? And we'll see that one pretty quick. That's week 1 matchup. So we'll start to get some expectations pretty quick. Rodney's over here saying he holds all judgments or expectations until I see him on the field for preseason. So that's fair enough, Rodney. Fair enough. I guess I could say this is the way too early. Have some talks about Bryce Young expectations and some of the things we'll talk about. Lots of speculation at this point. Now I'm not gonna dig in into further until I see a lot of stuff. I always like to say this is just what I see so far. I don't know yet. As we progress, as I see more, then things will start to change a little bit, right? Also admitting, hey, we have not even seen these guys in pads. The closest thing to pads is a helmet. They haven't been allowed any kind of physical contact. We're not even going to see that type of contact and physicality the first couple of days in training camp either. So it will take some time to have some true information about what could be. But right now, I know this week was all dedicated to just having some fun conversation about the team and seeing what everybody else wants to talk about. Appreciate the comment, Rodney. And hey, Panthers Kingdom says top 15 quarterback by the end of the season. So that puts him just a hair in the top tier of NFL quarterbacks. Not a bad place to be. So that was Andre. Again, saying that he expects his team to compete for the NFC South, meaning we'll have a legitimate chance at the playoffs. So I am going to actually kind of have a similar two questions separately, but they tie into each other very, very well. So first question that I'm going to talk about regarding Bryce Young is, hey, this is our first overall pick since Cam Newton back in 2011. So what's that? More than 10 years ago, right? So my first thought, again, just some barbershop talk, if you will, or I should say barbershop salon talk, porch talk, is do you think that Bryce Young will have the kind of numbers that Cam Newton had during his rookie year, right? Let's have some fun with it, right? Can Bryce Young have the same type of numbers that Cam Newton had as a rookie? So with saying that, let's go ahead and look at those numbers that Cameron Newton put up during his rookie year. Let me see if I can bring up the right screen here. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers put up by Cam in that rookie season. Here we go. Cam Newton. I'm trying to do something here. Oh, whatever. Cam Newton had 4,051 yards in his rookie season. Now, he also opened up the season with back-to-back 400-yard plus passing yards. And got to say, Andre Cunningham, I believe last name, reminded me of that earlier this week. Exceptional start. He had 21 passing TDs as a rookie, 17 INTs, 14 rushing TDs. So quick math, that means Cam Newton was responsible for 35 touchdowns his rookie season. That's a lot of touchdowns. That's over 2 touchdowns per game. Let's continue to look through this. Passer rating 84.5, completion rating 60% basically, and then this number here, which 706 yards rushing. I don't feel that Bryce will come close to the rushing stats at all. Hey, if you disagree, let me know. Just fun conversation here. Don't think he's going to get anywhere close to the rushing TDs. All these stats that I'm looking at for Cam, I don't feel like Bryce will match those numbers. I'm not saying he won't match the success, because the numbers don't completely translate to what kind of success that you're going to have. But just having some fun here with the conversation. 4,051 yards passing. That's a whole lot of yards. That's over 4,000 yards for a rookie. That's pretty exceptional. I feel like the thing that gave Cam Newton such a possibility to be as outstanding as he was as a rookie was the fact that he was a dual threat. Certainly athletic. Certainly has, I'm not discounting any of his other capabilities, but I feel like the biggest thing was his dual threat. And a lot of times as a rookie in the league, though they may know you from college, they don't have a lot of tape. They don't know what to expect. And if you can run the ball about as good as you can throw the ball, that puts people on their heels a lot. And so he didn't have as gaudy a numbers. I don't believe his second year. Let me see if I can check that really, really quick. But I know his first year. Just incredible numbers. Should have had this ready before I got on here. Let's see. Probably can still quickly find it though. So yeah, numbers went down in the second year. Yards went down. Actually, wow. I'm just noticing this. Here's did you know? Did you know that Cam Newton never had a 4,000 yard passing season beyond that first season? Never had a 4,000 yards. So, wow, that was good. His touchdowns went down. And what about his rushing? I'm not sure of his rushing. So anyway, yeah, those are Cam Newton stats. Let me put them back on the screen for you one more time before we get out of here. 4,051 passing, 4,051 yards, 21 yards passing, 17 INTs, 14 rushing. Some really good stats. So I don't feel like Bryce will get these numbers, but what I do feel like Bryce will have is a better touchdown and interception ratio. Cam was nearing a 1-to-1, 21 and 17. I feel like Bryce will not be so much near a 1-to-1 as Cam, and I don't feel like Bryce will have anywhere near those rushing yards. And then let's really quickly talk about the guys that he had the ability to throw the ball to that also helped him out a little bit. Do you guys remember who the top receivers were for Cam Newton? I'm sure you do. I'm sure everybody knows one of them. Steve Smith. Steve Smith had nearly 1,400 of those yards. Brandon LaFell, 613. And Greg Olsen, in what now seems like you can count as an off year for him, right? Because he had 3 consecutive 1,000-yard years. Greg Olsen had 540 yards. So some pretty good guys that he was throwing the ball to. Bryce Young does not have the caliber of people that Cam Newton had. Cam Newton had an absolute, for sure, number one wide receiver, whereas the Carolina Panthers do not have an absolute, undoubtable number one wide receiver, right? So Steve Smith he actually had a down year before Cam came, and then he about doubled it that year that Cam was there. Uh, we have Terrace Marshall, who I hope continues to improve, but he had 490 yards last year. We have DJ Chark, who had a 1,000-yard season like a couple years ago, but he only had 500 last year. Mingo's a rookie. Chenault had some 600-yard seasons before he came to Carolina from Jacksonville. Then had about 300 yards here last year. You know, he kind of seems to be used very dynamically. I know Coach Frank Wright talked about like a Deebo Samuel kind of guy that he could be for this team, so we'll see. And Adam Thielen, he had a 700-yard, looking at some of the comments here, 700-yard season last year with Minnesota. He, again, to me, not a number one. But so Bryce doesn't have a top talent like a Steve Smith, but he has what is undoubtedly one of the best coaching staffs in the league. He is absolutely a dynamic, great player. So I feel like overall, you know, you talk about Bryce Young being so good at facilitating the offense and being like a point guard in basketball, just getting the ball out there in the shorts, and then just his command of the team, which again, it was OTAs, it was not pads, but I feel like he could have a lot of success, and the numbers doesn't necessarily mean he will not be good. So there's my little take on Bryce. I said little, that was bad. I wasn't even trying to do any puns there. That was my take on Bryce Young compared to Cam Newton's stats. Cam won Rookie of the Year. Will Bryce Young win Rookie of the Year? I say that is I do the coin flip on that. Pretty good chance that Bryce Young will be competing for Rookie of the Year. All right, let me go ahead and get into some of these comments here. And again, there's a link in the description if you want to come on, talk about any Bryce Young question that you have, expectations, whatever. Make a comment. Please click on that link. Join me, cell phone, computer, whatever you have there, and you can do so. And hit the like button. Watching, there's no reason not to hit that like button. It's free of charge. Let's see here. We will own the South again this year, period. Well, we're going to start to find out pretty quick, again, with that first game being against Atlanta, down in Atlanta. Rodney said, I feel like he can because of the weapons he has around him and the O-line. Don't think he'll have the same rushing TDs as Cam had. Alec Owen saying, I think the most rushing yards Bryce will have will be about 250 to 300. Let me do the quick math on that. We now play, 17 games? Yeah, I like that, Alec. Let's put him at about 15 to 20 yards rushing per game, which means he might have a game where he only has 10 yards. And then he might have another game where he gets 40. But it won't be, don't expect to see him with a 70-yard rushing game or even a 50-yard rushing game right now, right? Take it slow. And he just, it's not been his game, number one. And, yeah, you always want to protect yourself for who you are as a player. You know, if you're Cam Newton, you can take hits, okay. Just protect yourself. Cam Newton protected himself may look a lot differently from Bryce Young protecting himself. Rodney, trying to piece together your comment about the O-line. I feel like he can, because of the weapons around him and his O-line. So you're saying Bryce Young has a pretty good O-line with, Taylor Moton, Hakeem Ekwonu, Corbett, some of those other guys that are up there. Absolutely. They have definitely given him some pieces to help increase the chances of his success, and he will not have to run for his life like a one Cam Newton had to do many, many years of his career. Under Cunningham, can you look at 2015 wide receiver like we have now? You want me to look, Andre? You want me to look at the 2015 wide receivers for the Carolina Panthers? I believe that's your question. I'm going to go to do that, and you can tell me if that wasn't what you wanted me to do. So give me a second. Let's see here if I can get this together for you. Oh. All right, so 2015 stats. Greg Olsen, over 1,000 yards. Ted Ginn Jr., 740 yards. Jericho Cotchery, 485. Funches, 473. So that was the year Cam had pretty good year. Had 3,800 yards passing. That wasn't his second most in his career. It was extremely close. So hopefully that answers your question. Again, 2015 wide receivers led by a tight end with over 1,000 yards, Greg Olsen. Ted Ginn with 740. Cotchery and Funches basically right around. Actually, it was a bunch of guys. Cotchery, Funches, and Brown right around 500 yards. So Cunningham was when we look at 2015, like the receivers we have now, because I see similar weapons as we did in 2015. We had Olsen then, so we definitely don't have as great of ball catchers. Ted should have had over 1,000 yards, minus a few drops. So you can look at that 2015 season with not having a dynamic, straight up number one wide receiver. We had an outstanding tight end, which we don't have right now. We don't have that in our tight end. We have certainly somebody can surprise, but right now you don't know who that blazing tight end would be, and you don't see that blazing as in a number one wide receiver on the squad. So, all right, good stuff. All right, again, links in the comments as well as the description. If you want to come on and say a question, make a statement, welcome to do so. I think I only got 4 likes on this live video. I know a lot of people at work and the likes and views pick up in the afternoons, but can we get to 5? Can we at least get to 5? Panthers Kingdom say, I do believe Shenault will surprise people. Now, Shenault definitely has the ability to have significant production increase with the Panthers this season. Definitely. We'll see. There's a lot of players with some upside, but I do think that Shenault has a lot of potential upside for this season. Let's go ahead and throw it over to my man Andre Casseday, who also wanted to talk about, will Bryce Young win the rookie MVP?
I think for Bryce Young, another thing that he should be shooting for, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Cam Newton, when he was here in Carolina in his first season, he lit it up statistically. That didn't necessarily translate into wins. They were 6-10 his first year here in Carolina. I think we could see something similar with Bryce Young in terms of lighting up the stat sheet and putting up some, quite frankly, ridiculous numbers. That is within the realm of possibility. But I think the way that I see it, it would be a little bit of a disappointment if he wasn't in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But that should be a goal, and that should be something that he should be shooting for. Not only just that, but just, being a serviceable member of the offense. And like I said earlier, continuing to improve and mature week in and week out. and just being a solid leader within that Panthers offense.
All right, so there you heard from Andre Casseday on his thoughts with Bryce Young competing for that rookie MVP. Hey, we got up to 16. Oh, my man Andre. Let me see if I can get you on here real quick, Andre. Let's see, let's see. I just hung up on Andre, not on purpose. Andre, come back on, man. I forgot. I'm trying to get something so I can talk to you. So my bad, Andre. Come back on. We'll chat. So bad, so bad. Did not mean to do that to you, man. Call back. Bad co-host. Andre, I'm gonna give you a moment to come back on. That was my bad. Hopefully, I didn't make you mad there. Come on back on, Andre. But nevertheless, he's saying that like now, who was number one? There's no number one, and we made it to the Super Bowl. So yeah, the stats were just meant as a reference to statistically. It was two separate things. Statistically, can Bryce do what Cam did? And then separately, I was saying that those numbers don't necessarily translate to the exact level of success that you will have. I think that Cam Newton's rookie record was 6-10, I believe. Let me go back to my cheat sheet real quick. Yeah, Cam rookie record was 6-10, 17 game season. But still, I think that we'll win more than 6 games with Bryce Young, and I do believe that we will be competing for the NFC South. Super Bowl stuff can happen down the road. May have some kind of surprise, but I would not nearly go for a Super Bowl surprise right now. But yeah, we can still be good, and I feel like the team overall will have more success this year than Cam did in his rookie year with the resources and talent we have from a quarterback, from a coaching perspective, etc. I think we'll be pretty good. All right, Andre's coming back, so I'm gonna give him a chance to say his piece before. My bad, man. My bad.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Go
But
ahead
what
with
I
your
was
comment.
saying about the receivers back then was I didn't feel like we had a number one receiver like we don't have one now. And I feel like a lot of traits that the receivers we have now compared to 2015 are somewhat similar. Maybe not as good, but if they can stay healthy, I can see us doing some things. I think a lot of people sleep on us. One, because we're not wealthy franchise, I would say, or you know, we're not popular or whatever, but I think that's them sleeper teams is the ones who surprise people.
Yeah, yeah. No, we definitely got a lot of money, but we are a smaller market team, so not
Mm.
everybody's going to be watching every single thing that we do. I even remember doing that 15-1 season. It seemed like it took to when we were 12-0 before people
Yeah.
nationally really started. I mean, it was like really the later quarter of the year. Now, I know you're talking about the players that we had during that 2015 season. Are you
Hmm.
saying like that you feel like we can progress to that kind of point, or you feel like we can have a
Yeah,
lot of success
because
this season?
like Ted Ginn and Philly Brown and Jericho Cotchery, like I mean, like you say, they didn't have great numbers. The person who had the most numbers was Olsen, and I think the guys can what we have now. I think they can get there or a little bit past there, and maybe that'll be enough to get us to the division championship or you know deep into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is how I'm feeling.
Hey, at the least, there is finally hope again in Carolina after I forget how many in a row bad losing seasons we had. Was it 4 or 5? I know it's 4 for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
All right.
so, and then I think like Tommy Trimble, I think Thielen is going to help Trimble get to a good level. Um, Now I don't know how many tight ends we're gonna keep, but 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 I think you if you let go of Trimble, um, in time is probably the oldest one there as far as the people who came under Rue. But but I would keep Trimble, let Ian go, and it'll that's your two tight ends. But I guess it all depends on how you look at it because now Trimble was talking that he getting better trained under these coaches than the last coaching regime. So, and I think a lot of players feel that way because I know Matt Corral was feeling some type of way. It was like, hey, I wouldn't. It was something to the instance like if it didn't go right, then do it anyway, and they didn't never fix what they had at the time of the game or whatever the case may be. They just rolled on what they had, and so I think this coaching staff and the players we have now, I think a lot of it can get to back to the standard that we used to have.
Yeah. It'll be cool to see, man. Hey, I appreciate you jumping on. I think this is your second time this week, so I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no problem. I'm never
Hey,
scared. I'm always here.
I expect to see you next week when I'm
All
down
right.
there in Spartanburg, sweating that y'all come on and join me, man. But I appreciate you popping on a couple times this week. You make sure you have a good weekend as well.
You too.
All right, take care. So, a few things is it wasn't Corral. I forget who it was. I feel like almost it was a special teamer. Man, I forget who it was. But some player did talk about how the coaching is better. We'll just say that. He appreciates the better coaching that's taking place right now. Matt Corral, unfortunately, he wasn't able to get much of anything done last year with getting hurt in the preseason, and had some frustrations. He had tweeted out during the draft and later said, "I was just talking about something else. I wasn't talking about the team." So, yeah, I do believe that the hope can be there. Overall, just overall, player for player, coaches for coaches, experience as a fan, I believe that we can now look forward to having some good times here in Carolina, and I'm excited about that. All right, so appreciate Rodney for coming on again. Uh, we got up to 7 likes. I appreciate it. I knew I didn't want to get off at just 4, so we got 7. And let me also say my toe, Lomax. Maybe said it wrong. Hopefully I didn't. What's going on? And Broderick, welcome back. I've been here all week, but I appreciate you tuning in and saying hello. So the next, no, I was going to say the next time you see me will be in Spartanburg. I can't guarantee you that because the players actually check in, I believe, on Tuesday. Yeah. And I'm lucky enough to have this wedding band on my hand because I'm now a married man. So I got married July 25th. Wedding anniversary is coming up. So that day, you may see me, but it could be brief for that reason of celebrating my anniversary. But you will absolutely see me starting Wednesday in Spartanburg, reporting to you guys about everything that I'm seeing. And for those who love the videos of practice going on, you will see some highlights of Bryce Young as well as the others doing their thing down in Spartanburg. So I think it'd be good to subscribe, turn on the bell notification if you haven't done so far. And yeah, otherwise, make sure you enjoy your weekend. I'll see you again shortly. Thanks everybody for tuning in.